introduce everyone. This is Ronald from Pereirinha. This is Ron. Today's talk.
Hi, Ronald from
and Symphony.
Crowd is crazy.
A lot of
Being observed, Mark from Portugal, and Lasse from Norway. We're just going to go quick through some of our favorite things, show some pictures from the event. That was in the Netherlands. So yeah, it's Marco.
I'll start first. I'll go over what my favorite presentation was, and the title was To OOP or Not to OOP. And for those not familiar with OOP, it's object-oriented programming. So it's basically, you have if you're developing a plugin or a theme, you can do procedural programming, which goes from top to bottom. So you declare a function here, you declare a function here, blah, blah, blah. And then if you OOP, you declare a class, and there's a bunch of code. And then underneath that class, you instantiate it, which means you declare an instance of that class. And you can decide which parts of that class to call, whereas when you're doing procedural, you just load a bunch of code and then you decide underneath which actions and filters to call. And I think the best thing I got out of the presentation was when not to use OOP. So the guy was going, okay, procedural programming isn't, he didn't say what I thought he would say. He didn't say procedural programming is bad. He said, as long as you prefix your functions and make sure there's no name clashes, then you're fine. You don't need to use object-oriented programming. But if you want to use something fancy like design patterns, does anybody know what design patterns are? One person.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I know a trend going on in WordPress classes that they use a singleton pattern, which basically means you can only instantiate a copy of your plugin file once. And that's what the singleton pattern does. And he even talked crap about that pattern. He's like, dude, do you even need a singleton in your class? Why do you want to make things complicated? You're just showing off your brains because you're using design patterns. Just showing off. That's what he said when using design patterns. So it's like, unless you really know what you're doing, unless you want to confuse a hell of a lot of developers, do not use design patterns. But I still find a use for them anyway. But that was my favorite presentation.
Thank you, good. Can I do mine?
Yeah.
There's actually 2 presentations that I thought was really cool. Because I'm not a developer, so I watched the OOP thing, but it didn't really, you talk so fast and such complicated slides. But there were 2 presentations that was super cool. It was like one by Noel Tuck. Does anyone know what Happy Tables is? Yeah, so it's basically a site that is for restaurants. It makes them super easy. It's like a theme.
Yeah.
You created a theme with a custom VP admin.
framework?
So, yeah. So restaurant can make their sites. But I also watched Yoast. Does everyone know who Yoast is? It's like one of the top.
You should, if you don't know who he is.
Yeah, you probably know his plugin. It's called WordPress SEO. It's like the top 5 plugins. It's really good. And he had a really cool talk about kind of a hot topic.
Oh, premium plugins?
Yeah, and kind of, I thought he was correct. He basically said that the problem a lot with WordPress developers is they have this thought of giving and giving and giving, and magically, because you do that, you're magically going to receive someday, let's say money or anything. But he, yeah, or support. But he basically argued that you should, basically you should stand up for yourself and
you
charge.
shouldn't mow the lawn.
Yeah.
Try to grow your business and earn some money, and then you can go back and contribute to the
Yeah.
community.
Not be so hippie-ish. And I think, no, but I think actually that's kind of a issue in WordPress that, especially at the WordCamp Europe, with so many, like, almost fanboys.
People will take all that you can give.
Yeah.
It was great.
That's just my experience.
And the issue is, if you have a plugin that's costs $9, I think it's a lot. But let's say you put 1,000 hours in it, and $9 isn't that much. And that's kind of the issue with WordPress user, I think. I don't know what you guys think. But.
Just to add that one about Yoast, the guy said if you want to charge it correctly.
Yeah.
So next day, that was the last presentation. Yeah, on the second day. And on the next day we had the contributors day when 100 of us gathered in one huge hall, killed the router twice, with all the Wi-Fi, with all the devices that we had. And we gathered, and we're supposed to use the Cornerstone. It's the application for the SVN to publish our changes, our patches. And me and Marco didn't have that application, and we wanted to use it. And I was like, okay, we need to buy it. $60. $60 for that application, but I need to pay $60, and I'm also contributing to the open source to, I don't know, to find some patches for the core. So like, that's exactly what you said. If you want to, if you need to charge it correctly, with that money, you will invest into your programming. You will invest again in the open source. If I just had like, yeah, I had, I don't know, what, 10,000 premium buying things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was losing.
Yeah.
And I'll have the money, I'll just buy the software, and I will invest right at that point. I will run that application, and I will invest my code by patching the core. And that is the highlight of the WordCamp Europe.
Yeah.
And it was kind of closure for the whole thing.
It's a really good speech. Yeah.
You know, in my experience, WordPress users, like people who write blog posts, aren't willing to buy plugins.
Yeah.
But WordPress developers are the ones that are willing to buy plugins.
Yeah. And that brings to my favorite presentation there. Is a topic that was brought by Marco and Mike.
Just because it's the same name.
Yeah, just because. And what they bring was like, they looked through the core and they saw something that they could change. And they are investing hundreds of hours changing the way WordPress handles images. So they will now have, I guess it's going to the core pretty much.
I think it came in the core 3.5.
Already? Yeah, but they are changing, so the way we handle images in the WordPress, it's on its way, it's being changed, they are rebuilding a new API, and yeah, it's kind of wraps up what we are talking about. It's like, you need to give to the community
In order to do that.
yeah, because we are using for free, and it should keep that way. And yeah, they are random guys. One is Dutch, and the other is American, and they joined forces across the Atlantic Ocean to work on that one. And yeah, I felt myself amazed about the power of it.
I think Yoast did it really good, because he created WordPress SEO, because everyone knows who he is now, because it's so good. And then he can do add-ons, which cost money.
Yeah.
Shitty cost.
It's like video SEO costs like $80.
Yeah, but it's worth it though,
Yeah.
because it's so good. So,
He makes a good case study for it.
yeah,
He's like, if you do videos and you have this plugin, you will get this much traffic.
yeah. What's your favorite?
My favorite of the first day, when it started, I lost my phone. And in the first 10 minutes I managed to do that. And the WordPress community is awesome. They gave me back my phone, probably because I have HTC. And yeah, they gave me back my phone, so I was super excited. But I missed by far. Lots of them said that the PHP unit testing by the pirate guy, that was their best. So I just I'll see another one. So I was really amazed by the Brad Williams. The guy says, security code and the way how we code, because I think that never in my life I heard a man saying that much of a words, but useful. It was like, what? We just stood there like in, let's say, 15 or 20 minutes. He gave us so much. He learned so much. I was just looking at, I think I just blinked and it's like, whoa, it's the end. And he killed it, so I kind of hugged him that night. Yeah, that isn't later, but it was really awesome. Yeah,
That was at the disco.
At the disco. this panel is not about that, so we can skip that. Yeah, of the second day, yeah, probably the Yoast presentation.
Yeah.
The SEO guy.
I don't know what you guys think. Does anyone have an opinion on kind of, yeah.
So what did you work on during contribution day? On fixing patches or?
Yeah. The main cause of the contributors day, this I think the 60 or 70 people actually signed up for it. At one point, I counted around 140 completely packed tables with developers. Yeah, I counted 140 or something.
I think that's 200 max.
Yeah. The whole place?
No, I can. That was max. You can be 200 people.
Yeah. It was super crazy. We killed the router, but the thing that they said is we are not supposed to make just one, or like join our forces and let's make just one patch for the core. We were divided in several groups, I think 7 in total. It was the core group, the biggest one. It was translations, docs, accessibility, yes, yeah, I pronounced it correctly. No, docs, it was a lot of groups, different, and the main goal was to show as much as they could at that point how to contribute. You don't have to gather around one and and change just one patch. It was, I think, more than 50% of us who never contributed anything, and they were showing us how to. This is how you submit a bug. This is what you do. Please help us doing that. So they also released on that day a new website for make.wordpress.org. But that very day we was there when they launched it, and it was a new feeling for most of us, because I never contributed anything, and I really wanted. And they really tried. They even had a small presentation how to. We gathered around like a small kids, all with laptops in our laps, like come on, give us knowledge. So they actually went by step how to make WordPress better place, better CMS. So that was the actual keynote of the whole thing.
So that people can pick out how to contribute, they can do so at a later point then.
Exactly. Everyone had something. Actually, first time contributed on Serbian version of WordPress. First time I installed that one on Cyrillic. And when I suggest something to Mike for the core, he said first start with publishing the plugin. Do you have a plugin that does that? So no, I don't. And he led me through the steps how to publish. Why don't you change that one? Why don't you change? This would be much better. So it was awesome. It was awesome, really, especially for sitting. The thing that you sit in one table with Yoast or with so many developers that I just saw the plugin like, thank you, and you're just sitting there, and he's trying to help you, trying to teach you. That was really once in a lifetime experience for me. It's pretty cool.
Any other questions? Pizza?
God, pizza. All right, the presentation is going to be on WordPress.tv. Oh, yeah.
I just wonder, when you guys were talking, you showed us 2 blogs that what sort of reviews. Yeah, that one and the other one, Tavern.
Yeah,
yeah.
Is it it's the Tavern? Yeah.
Yeah, you got more of them
There's a bunch. If you follow hashtag WCEU on Twitter,
Yeah.
people posting a bunch of them.
Have they?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's actually too much. You know,
Yeah, that's why I haven't looked up, because there was a lot of tweets.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm looking for like 2 days, and I just found these 2.
You just found it?
Yeah, and I read one from the Japanese.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, written in Japanese. I was just looking like, no.
Yeah, Post Data should have one pretty soon. They're looking for the best ones on WCEU, so they should post one pretty soon.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Could you post some of them at Meetup?
Yep.
Meetup.com, the discussion here.
The only thing that I didn't like, because it was my first time, I attended on the WordCamps in Portugal, and I guess here in Norway the thing works the same way as it worked in the WordCamp Europe, is that having multiple tracks running at the same time. And that's so cool because if you see the schedule, in the very first day, the very first presentation, you have to make a crucial choice, and that went all the other days like that. So one thing that I will for sure do will review the ones that I lost, because we have to make choices, and I will be attached to the WordPress TV for a long time to keep up with the ones that I missed.
Yeah, the good thing with it was the name of those rooms, and you have, if you're just a developer, like strict developer, and you want to learn about the code, you had the build room, and they were like separated by that. It's a must to see if you're following the WordPress.tv. It's really all of those presentations are really good, well prepared. Like you see 700. That, let's say, among them the top 15 WordPress developers, WordPress contributors. It was really awesome, especially the Matt was there also for a whole hour. The co-founder was just answering the questions, and you can ask anything. From WordPress core, what are the plans for the future, about the automatic, about WordPress foundations, everything, and he answered each and every. There were also the panel thing.
I recommend you to see on top there, Arnstein was actually in a panel, and you should see it because Arnstein got booed on. That was very funny. He happened to mention that we work with SEO, which is apparently not popular with WordPress people. I didn't know.
Why is that?
I have no idea.
Everybody in WordPress community thinks SEO is a fraud.
It's stupid though. Why did you think that?
Because SEO has gone a bad rep.
Right.
At least in the United States.
At least among developers. At least among developers. But the answer had the best introduction ever.
No, it was a good panel, and you should always. It's gonna be rambling, but Smashing Magazine was the first. He was really good because he talked about actually, on speeches they often talk about the cool stuff that happened, but he mentioned all the bad stuff that happened when he created Smashing Magazine, which I think is actually more interesting. And Smashing Magazine is so big. How he did his office and how he kind of did some things in a dodgy way and he regretted it later, but he was admitting it at the speech. So
I lost that one.
Oh yeah, it was really good.
But we had also the mistakes. On that subject, the Miriam had a presentation like learn from my mistakes, and it was the whole list of the mistakes, really common mistakes. I said like, no, and she said, don't learn from my mistakes, don't make them again, or don't make them even better, make even bigger mistakes.
Mistakes, Milan, mistakes on what? On building a WordPress site, or?
From building a WordPress site to communicating with the client.
Right.
Like, you have this type of client, and the crowd like, yeah, you have this type of client. Like, yeah, that's the one. So everyone had something to tell about that one. Like, you can recognize yourself. Like, yeah, I made a mistake because maybe I didn't charge that much, or maybe I overcharged. So yeah, that's really useful. Yeah, you mentioned the OT.
And you're saying that maybe they are going to be available?
Oh, it is going to be available. It just takes some time because you have to edit. And when you send stuff to WordPress TV, you have to approve it. But it's going to be on WordPress TV. So I would recommend watching those.
Thanks, guys.
Pizza?
Thank you.